Hi, everybody. DJ Yoakley here with you, and it's another day of baseball missed. And with that in mind, we're going to talk to my good friend, Mr. Mike Smith, the state championship coach of the 11U Boardman Spartans last year. What a ride that was, Coach. Obviously, not the same kind of feeling in the last few days. You talked about kind of where you were when you found out about the Little League canceling their World Series. Can you just kind of, rehash what you guys were doing as a team, actually, which is outstanding, but kind of give us the lowdown on how you found out.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, DJ. Yesterday was a tough day for anybody who is invested in baseball and Little League. But on a positive note, we started the day off. It was one of our players' birthday, Cooper Marks. He turned 12 yesterday, so his family, his mom, dad set up a nice little parade for him. So we got the team together who was able to come out and drive by his house, create some messages on some baseballs of happy birthday and some inspiration and everything like that, kind of tossed in the yard for him. And so while that was going on, we had the live feed from the announcement for Little League playing. And unfortunately, we heard the cancellation, so it did put a bit of a damper on the moment for us. So that's kind of where we were when this all broke.
Now, naturally, we want to extend our happy birthday to Cooper. But secondly, for you, I mean, you're in the driver's seat and your son's in the back seat. You've been through this before. You were through it as a player. You're through it now as a dad. What was it like to kind of look in the rearview mirror and watch your son's reaction?
It was tough. It was heartbreaking. Something that as a child, we played baseball, and that was kind of the goal. You start playing baseball and you enjoy it, and you love the game, and it's that dream of getting to the Little League World Series. You watch it on TV. These kids have watched it, as they've grown up, and that's been the dream. And then to kind of in a moment see that dream shattered, it's difficult. It's difficult as a coach, as someone who loves the game of baseball, but most of all, it's difficult as a parent to have to see your kids in that moment where something that they were working towards and striving towards had, just kind of been taken away.
There's a lot of emotions with everything opening or reopening and then closing and a lot of back and forth. You as just your individual opinion has no ramifications of the BCB. Just you as an individual, do you see this decision to cancel the Little League World Series as a strikeout, meaning they completely missed it, or a rainout as they got it right and just hoping for better days?
Yeah, no, I definitely would classify it as a rainout. As disappointing as it is, we have to, as people, look at the bigger picture of things, right? And it's the health and safety of everyone. So understanding the pandemic that we are in, I do believe it was the right decision. Now, again, it's disappointing for this group of 12-year-olds and not just the Boardman boys, but everybody across the Mahoning Valley and for that matter, everybody across the country to just not be able to participate in this. But in the end, I do believe it was the right decision.
So when you look at this as a whole, now the World Series completely out of the picture, the trip to Williamsport is not even being mentioned. The opportunity for a regular season, is that something that still kind of gives you hope for a little bit of back to normalcy and getting baseball back underway here in the Valley?
Yeah, I do. I do believe there is that opportunity, in my personal opinion. Baseball is kind of a game of social distancing in itself. There's not a lot of close contact, especially in Little League. At the age that we're at, you're not leading off of first base. You're not holding on that base runner. So that first baseman is away. Really the only contact you have would be in that batter's box with the catcher and the umpire. And I'm sure, something could be worked out there. So hopefully, we are able to have some semblance of baseball just for the kids, for the folks that love the game, that want to participate. We can figure out a safe way for them to do that.
Now, I'm talking to Dr. Chet Cooper, the district representative for Boardman and for so many in the Valley. He says that he wants to make sure that baseball does happen, but he also wants to make sure that for communities that aren't going to have baseball, that basically the borders come down and the opportunity for teams to kind of inherit other players is a possibility. Is that something that you can get on board with, or would you like to just keep things the way they are and keep Boardman and the other communities and the other communities?
No, I would definitely be on board with it. I mean, I love my Boardman team and my Boardman community first and foremost, but I think the game of baseball obviously is bigger. And a lot of these kids prior to the Boardman season starting play on different travel teams. So you have to have that experience where you're playing with other kids from other schools and other communities. And it's nice, you know what I mean? One, you're making new friends. Two, you're learning the game differently from other folks and other teammates. So I definitely would be on board with bringing other communities into a league together.
Now, this is the one that I think is going to be toughest for you to answer. I mean, what could have been? You talk about your team that you had last year. Again, 11 U state champions. There wasn't a hole in your lineup. That you had all the morale in the world. People followed you all over the entire state, the Buckeye State last year, and we had it all televised on YSN. When you look at what could have been the special year for this Boardman team, the 12Us, what do you think you're missing out on with no Little League World Series?
Man, that's a tough question to answer. You know, last year was magical. It was an unbelievable run. It really was. You know, it started with these kids. You know, these kids start baseball in November and December. You know, indoors, practicing, hitting, just preparing for the season, go on to play with some travel teams, and we all come together. And we did. The run was magical. The team was fantastic. Parents, coaches, fans. I mean, the support that we had from here all the way down to Cambridge was fantastic. You know, what could have been, you know, the team was still there. We were actually getting possibly getting a couple more pieces that played up on that 12U team last year, which was a real good team. And you just don't know. You know, baseball across the Mahoning Valley is fantastic. The competition that we had, the Polands, the Canfields, the Austin Towns, great team. So, you know, if you were fortunate enough to make it out of that district and get to state, then you faced, you know, even better teams there. You know, you had your Cambridge and your Hamiltons and possibly your Mommies and all those teams. But I really liked our chances. I thought our team was really solid and we could do something special this year.
And that, I mean, it was almost, you flipped a switch. When you guys raised that banner, it was like everybody turned their attention to what is going to be. Not what could be, it is what is going to be. A team that had their eyes set on Williamsport. When you, and again, not to speak out of turn, but when you look at, again, what could have been, many people point to Hamilton and they say Hamilton is the standard, but many don't remember that was the team you beat to raise that banner in the championship game. So when you look at that aspect, is there a little part of you that says, man, if we just had one shot, just give us 2 weeks and we could at least been on our way to what is it, Indianapolis, and then on our way to Williamsport?
Yeah, no, definitely. Listen, I would put my Boardman team up against anybody.
I love it.
All the confidence in the world. You know, you love to be that dreamer, right? And I can't say that I never thought about it because I had. You know, myself, the coaches, you know, in the off season, you know, we had our celebrations with the kids and then kind of ended the off season with, hey folks, you know, this was great, but let's put this behind us and let's start looking forward to 2020. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't think about it.
Would you like to see a state tournament still happen?
I would. I mean, I would love to, you know, as long as we put safety in the forefront and we can ensure that our kids are safe. I would love to see some sort of state tournament happen. Absolutely.
Awesome. The last thing I'm going to ask you is, what does the future hold for this year's 12U? So when you look at it, there's a lot of unknowns. We talked about a state tournament. What could be? I mean, there's people talking about a national tournament that could happen somewhere. But really, what do you want to see from this group that you have moving forward? Do you want to see them continue to focus on you know, the missing of the Little League World Series, or do you want to focus on the next step, which is ultimately what could be a very, very powerful Boardman team as they move into high school?
Yeah, no, I mean that's kind of our focus now is just getting these kids better. You know, we can't dwell in the past and the what ifs and what could have beens. Really, we have to put our focus on the future and and whatever level of baseball comes next for these kids that we need to get them into, whether that's an intermediate level or a pony level or another league, a travel league, just something to get them better and prepared for high school. Because like you said, this group is a solid group, and the folks, the teams that came before us, last year's 12s, the year before that, a lot of good baseball players. So in those coming years for high school, Boardman has a bright future, and we're really excited for that. It's not just us who lost our 12-year-old year. You look to the seniors in high school and college, and there's nothing for them the next step. So, we just kind of have to live in the moment, put it past us, and look towards our future.
Last question, I promise. If there is no baseball this year, what are you going to miss most about this group that you've had for the last few years?
I'm going to miss the group. When we started this team, essentially the majority of the team has been together since they were 7 years old. And back then we had kind of sat down and we talked with the kids and talked about the dream of possibly having the opportunity and working towards that Little League World Series. I'm going to miss the team. I'm going to miss the coaches, the game planning that we had, the fun practices, the hard work that the kids put in. They never complained. All of the practicing we asked, they were there, dedicated, committed, and having fun. Really did become a family. I miss the families. The parents were fantastic. I'd never been a part of a team where there was no animosity. Nothing was wrong. Everybody understood that we were all working towards a common goal. And I'm going to miss all of it. I really am. And then as a parent, I'm going to miss, coaching my son.
Yeah.
Tough.
Yeah. Coach, I appreciate it. An 11U state championship coach that no one can ever take away from you. Proud of you. Appreciate all your support of YSN, and hopefully we'll see you on the diamond here soon.
Sounds great. Thanks, DJ.